Hi, this is Anna Imagination with the Healing Garden, and welcome to Shifting Perspectives. I'm delving into the realm of love and starting to pull that apart with perspective psychology. I had this massive shift yesterday, and this morning I was laying in bed and I had that moment where I went, oh. So I'm going to try and explain a few things. A person presents themselves, how they view themselves. It's why it's so important to know who you are, especially when you're building a business. Because what you decide to put out there in your prices depends on 100% what you think of yourself. I've been trying to figure out for a while what I am, my title, and I'll talk to somebody. And I started off at like this level. I would look at people like therapists, and I would be like, well, I'm not quite a therapist. And I was always playing in this field and mindset. I'm not a therapist. I cannot say that enough. I am not a therapist. And this morning I realized why. And when I try to explain my job and what I do and the work I do with psychology, it's very difficult for me because I didn't have the words until now. And then this is my favorite part. I would get I get probably 5 DMs a day at least from business owners trying to sell me their business. And I noticed something after like the 10th call that the conversations would start like this. I would get in, they would pitch, and I would, in my brain, I run psych 100% all the time. It's like a constant engine in my head where I will sit there and somebody will run through and I will just go step by step, psychoanalyzing the full conversation. It's a defense mechanism I learned during my trauma years that when someone was, yeah, this is my defense mechanism. When I had somebody address me, I would immediately put on the psych and go, okay, this is what they're doing. This is their behavior. This is exactly where they are. And this is what they're going to do next. And as a result, I was able to predict exactly what they were going to say, what they were going to do as a defense mechanism. So that by the time they got all the way over here, I was able to basically be 10 steps ahead of them so I could move myself in a position that would keep me safe. And I was able to significantly diffuse many, many life and death situations to navigate what I was dealing with using psychology. It's still there. I can't turn it off. I don't know if I want to. I cannot turn it off. So now I have people who'll DM me and I'll immediately categorize a single DM. With men, it's hilarious because, first of all, 98% of my clientele are women. So when I get a man messaging me, he's either a business owner or he's looking for a date. He's almost never interested in psychology. He's almost never interested in improving himself because our society teaches men that this is weak. So men are actually there's a divide happening, a psychological educational divide happening, a spiritual divide happening, and a mental divide happening between men and women now, where women are getting smarter, women are getting healthier, and men aren't. Because our society has conditioned men that it's weak. So all the men who think like they're weak and all the men who think that this is girl stuff are actually being out evolved by everybody else. Natural selection. Darwin trumps everything. And that's pretty much what we're saying is our society right now is in the middle of an evolutional divide where survival of the fittest are moving on massively in leaps and bounds, and the lower evolution of life, closed-minded, people who are shunning emotions, people who are neglecting their mental care, are really, really far behind now. And that gap is getting bigger. It's really, on a sociological point of view, fascinating to witness. We read about this shit in books. We're going to be researching this era in about 500 years, analyzing what took place now. This is the evolutional divide, and it's extraordinary to watch. Understanding is the cure and the cause to a perspective gap. Perspective gap is exactly what we're dealing with here. Perspective gaps are the misunderstandings that take place between two individuals. So think about your relationship, think about your marriage, think about your children. Every time you have an argument with someone, it's because there is a perspective gap happening. And both parties, in most cases, lack the words and the vernacular to communicate the perspective gap. Now, I am no exception to this. No one is. It's the human condition. As long as you're human, this is going to happen to you. It doesn't matter what your education level is. The trick is recognizing when it's happening to you. That's the difference between educated and not. So I'm working through things with my loved one. And yesterday, he finally opened up, and it allowed me to see his perspective in a way I had not realized, which shifted everything. And we connected over that. And that's it. Imagine connection, human connection is a bridge. It's a bridge. And the two pieces of land are your perspective and their perspective. And when you have a perspective gap or a misunderstanding, it's because there's no bridge. And the communication is the bridge. Communication lays the paving stones to get you from your perspective to their perspective so that you can understand each other. And when you have a loved one and you have a misunderstanding, it's because the bridge has fallen down and now you're on two separate planes and you're not seeing eye to eye. Now you have a choice. You can rebuild the bridge or you'll drift apart. That's your option. Now you have to have somebody who's willing to cooperate because they're going to have to build their bridge to meet your bridge. You can't build from their end because you're not there. On occasion, you can throw them words to show them maybe this is how you feel. And if you get it right, then you've built their bridge. But you got to be spot on with knowing where they are. So you throw them words, hoping that those words will relate to them, which is why we project on people, which is why we say things to them, in hopes to build that bridge. And in response, they get that bridge built so they can now reach you. Oh, I feel understood. This all comes down to understanding. So every time you have an argument with your child, every time you have an argument with your spouse, every time you have an argument with your coworker, even a stranger, it's all about you on your perspective, they're on their perspective, and there's no bridge. The bridge has been broken, the bridge has been damaged, or the bridge shifts. Now you've got to find a way to connect with each other. And the connection is only through communication. The problem is you are trying to articulate things in the fourth perspective that are actually meant for the eighth, because this stuff doesn't exist yet. This is what the whole YouTube channel is. This is all I do, is provide people with these words so that they can start articulating their bridges, so they can start connecting properly with people. A lot of things that happen in relationships is perspective abuse. This is my perspective, and this is their plateau of land, and there's no bridge. And in the attempt of trying to build bridges, someone comes along and says, that's not what you think. This is what you think. Well, no, it's not. So now you're being told what your reality and what your world is. Now, a lot of people, almost everyone, get really pissed off when that happens. Absolutely. Why are you telling me what I think? Why are you telling me what I feel? That's what we're actually saying. Why are you abusing my perspective? Why are you disrespecting my perspective? When you start using these words, you're actually naming the problem. Naming the problem is the core of all communication. It is it. Naming the problem, naming is extraordinary. When I was doing my research, I kept coming back to Shakespeare's "What's in a name? That which we call a rose by any other would smell as sweet." Naming. I obsessed over naming for years. I have a couple videos called What's in a Name, and it's time I go back on that many times over. It's a subject that I will always and forever go back to. A name is everything. A name is your succinct identity. You have your identity, and it's all over the place. But to succinct it is to communicate it. And we really need to communicate. Communication is the bridge builder. So when I realized these gaps, it changed a lot. And I woke up this morning with deep emotional pain. And I love, this is going to sound so BDSM of me. I love pain. I love pain because it gives me an opportunity to explore. Every time I feel pain, I go, ooh, what's this? And I go to work dissecting it. And so I laid in bed this morning dissecting this pain. And I realized, well, pain is basically discomfort. I realized there's a new perspective of pain that I hadn't seen until today. That pain is basically on a scale. There's comfort zone, and then there's pain, and there's the discomfort zone. So you start off with comfort, and then it gets discomfort. You get uncomfortable, and then that discomfort and uncomfort grows, and now you're into growing pains. This is why. And it's actually emotional growing pains because you're growing and it's going to be uncomfortable. But if you have too much discomfort, it's going to get painful. And then when it keeps pushing into pain, now it gets into rewiring your system. That's trauma. That's when trauma enters. So if you're feeling a lot of pain, it's because you lack comfort. Now, that's going to trigger fear. That flips over to fear. And that causes a whole lot of problems. Pain is the catalyst that triggers fear. But there's another aspect of pain I did not realize until this morning. Pain is also cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance is the psychology word for misalignment. It is a word that is never talked about. There's a lot of psych stuff up here in NIM. And then there's what the government regulates. And then there's the stuff that you get, the stuff that you're allowed to see. This is bullshit because there's stuff that they keep from you that you really need to know, like cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance is an emotion. It is the emotion of dichotomy, the emotion of contradiction. It actually hurts us. Contradiction is painful for humans. Fourth perspective people really don't like cognitive dissonance. Their whole existence is focused on get rid of anything that's inconsistent. They are obsessed with removing dichotomy, which is why everyone has to be the same in their little box. That's their driving force, is they're actually trying to avoid the pain of cognitive dissonance. Now, once you get into the sixth perspective, you celebrate cognitive dissonance and it doesn't hurt because you've developed a tolerance to it. But this is different. This is all internal, right? But when you have a partner, now there's a different level of cognitive dissonance. It's like you have your alignment and they have theirs. And either you're aligned with someone you love or you're not. When we fall in love, we become aligned with them. They integrate into our system. This is what falling in love is. It is an integration of a completely different being. So here you are, and now here's your unit. So now your cognitive dissonance is dependent upon or integrated with the running of a different cognitive or a different cognitive core, a different body, a different mind. And if you're not aligned now with each other, there's going to be pain. That's heartbreak. And that's what's happening with me right now with my partner is we're not aligned. And to correct the alignment is caused 100% by a lack of communication. Let me see, that's fourth perspective talk. Let me change this around. The alignment is caused by by a misunderstanding. I need to break this down. I need to go bigger and then go from the outside and in. It is caused by a gap in the perspectives. We're aligned. It's because our perspectives are aligned. Our perspectives must be aligned for there to be peace and no pain. But we're people. So we have to keep these perspectives aligned or we'll have cognitive dissonance. If you don't talk to make sure that your perspectives are aligned, they start to go out of alignment. Now I'm going to shift this over to business for just a minute because it's the exact same thing. When you build a business, you have you and you have your business. Your business becomes your business partner. Your business is your alignment. So you're aligned now to your business. And when your business goes this direction and you're going this direction, there's pain. It's a different kind of pain. So you got to bring them back together. So once a week in the Healing Garden, I have something called the weekly alignment. And that is me confirming that you are on the same page as I. Fourth Perspective Talk uses the phrase, we're on the same page. That's perspective talk for we're on different perspectives. That's what I'm talking about. We're on the same page means we have different perspectives or we're not on the same perspectives. So going back over to relationships now, you have your page, you have your perspective, and they have their page. And you have to make sure you are aligned or you're going to have cognitive dissonance between the two of you. Now, you also need to make sure that you have cognitive melody, harmony. I see. I understand. My beautiful music brain. I understand. Intervals, chords, harmony, key signatures. I see. The more I study, the more I realize I'm studying the same topic. It's the same goddamn subject. God, I hope some of you people, I really hope some of you people are music theorists. Because for those of you who understand music theory, this is about to get real fun. There is only one subject. There is only one subject in this world. Science is the interpretation of this one subject. It's one perspective. Art is another perspective. Music is another perspective. Physics is another perspective. Religion is another perspective. But it's the same subject. It's all the same subject. And all of these professions are giving an interpretation of the same subject. Perspectives. We're all trying to figure out what the fuck is going on. And we're all seeking the big picture. So we're using every tool we have to try and communicate what the fuck is going on. And we don't know. Music is the closest to having it figured out. Music has it more figured out than physics. Music has it more figured out than art. Music has it more figured out than psychology. Music beats psychologists at their own fucking game. Hooah! But you have to be a music theorist to get this. Fuck damn. I now understand why music theory was like my first love. Music. I was 4 years old when I first played piano. I play piano and I started when I was 4. And just to give you an idea, this is my hand. Do you see how my finger like does this and it curves? This is from playing when I was a child. My hand actually evolved into the set of a piano. so that when I play to stretch the octave, my finger grew and it curved to reach the notes. That is how embedded into my body and brain music is. My body literally grew to adapt. My feet are the same way. I have ballet feet because I've been dancing ballet for so long that my feet are literally turned, my toes turn inward to match a toe shoe. That is how embedded into my body and brain and development music is. So music was my first love. I studied music theory long before I even touched psychology. I was composing manuscripts at 12. I was composing operas at 12. It never occurred to me. And here I am all the way at the end of this thing, and music is still first and foremost what's coming up. So in music theory, there are two types of lines. There are two relationships. First of all, everything in music is relative, and everything is set off of a frequency, A440. A440 is A, and it is the core note. It is the note that all Western music is tuned to say, okay, this is the starting point of the vibrational frequency. This is why I studied physics. So there is an interval. An interval is one note. And then there is the melodic relationship between the notes. That is the notes that are going from point A to point B. It's the linear relationship. Melody is the linear relationship. The note from point A to point B. The harmonic relationship is the relationship of the notes that are being played at the same time. Now, when you get into this, when you look at the harmonic, there's chords, and that's basically three notes played at the same time. For basics, let's just say three notes. And for starting, we're going to go C, E, G. So C, E, G, boom, boom, boom. God, this is like, oh, my brain is just purring right now. So you have C, E, G, and that's your chord, and that's your harmonic relationship. Now, then you have C here, and you could go C, D, E, F, G. Now that's the melodic. When we are people and we are reacting to other people, you have you, which is you're the melody. You are the melody. You are your song. You are the melody. But when you get a partner, now it's harmony. So there's the melodic relationship, and they have a melodic relationship. This is called melodic lines. And then you have the harmonic relationship between the two of you. So for you, you have your own cognitive core alignment, which is your own frequency. Likewise, they have theirs. And you have the one that you're working with each other. That's the harmony. It is absolutely imperative that you are in alignment this way, that they are in alignment this way, and that you are both in alignment this way. How you are all aligned makes up your composition. So if you're in a relationship with anyone, you're actually in a musical composition with them. Now, I'm going to go to you. Let's play psychologist for a minute. If you were to come to me with your marital problems, the first thing I would look at is your melodic harmony. Well, are you harmonized with you? Is everyone in tune? Are you aligned with your frequency? In order to do that, you need your tonic. That is music talk for one chord. It is the stable starting point of any key signature. It doesn't matter what key signature you're in. What matters is your defined tonic. You need your defined one chord. God, this is so much easier to understand psychology, to communicate psychology to you using music theory. So you have your tonic. Oh God, I am so going to be embedding all of this language into perspective psychology. So you have your defined tonic. That is your identity. Your identity is your defined tonic. Now, you can have all this other shit happening so long as the tonic is defined. But we don't define the tonic. Now, for you who are into music theory, you now understand how dire that is. Now you get it. Without an identity defined, you don't have a tonic. So I'm going to ask you, what key signature are you in? Without your tonic, you don't know. That's your problem. For those of you who don't understand music theory, identity is the defining solid core of everything. You can't move, you can't function, you can't do until you have defined your tonic, your one chord, who you are. Your ethics is the median. The median is the third chord, the middle note. It is the chord, it is the note that determines if you're in a major or a minor key. It's really fucking important. It's really fucking important. My favorite thing in music, dun dun, everyone knows it, dun dun, that is major going to a minor. Hear the difference? Dun dun, completely changes the entire composition. Are you in the major? Are you in the minor? I love it. Dun dun. That is your ethic. That is the same solid ethic. So you have this tonic, this solid tonic, your identity. Now, is it going to be played off of a major or a minor key? Which direction are you going to take this? Which ethic are you going to guide yourself? Because that's going to determine our mode. We can't go anywhere without that. That's our navigational point. Our identity is the ship. Oh, but that ethic is the compass. The ethic is the fucking compass. So what are you going to do? I need my fucking median. Now, when you got your shit together, that's fourth perspective talk for when you have all of this figured out and everything's defined, you literally need to start putting things together. You have your identity, you have your one chord, you have your ethics, your beliefs. I'm not going to figure out an analogy. It's not important. Your beliefs, getting back to psychology, very much define the rest of it. But that's all of your alignments. That is your melody. Now, you can be one melodious line going all over the place doing your thing. You don't need harmony. You need a melody. If you have just a chord, if you have just harmony, you're not going anywhere. The melody is what takes it everywhere. I could sit down and grab any composition and just look at the harmonic relationship between the entire notes in one breath, 1 second, and go, okay, well, that tells me the harmony, but where's it going? What's the purpose? What's it doing? Oh, that's all the melody. That is all the melody. So what's your melody? Now let's add another person into this gorgeous thing. Now they come in with their melody, or they don't. They come in defining someone else's melody. And that's perspective abuse. When you have all these different melodies on top of you. So there's your tonic. Your tonic's been taken away. You have no one chord. You have no median. You have no third chord, or you have no three chord, 3 note, 3 interval. That's been taken away from you. That's completely out the window because somebody else has put theirs in. So you might have your mother's 1 chord, your father's 3 chord, and you're being played by your husband's song. You're a fucking mess. You are a fucking mess. And every one of those has their different key signatures. This person over there isn't even in a Western mode. So yeah, it's going to fucking hurt. You're going to have a lot of cognitive dissonance. Ha ha ha, harmonic dissonance. The word dissonance, cognitive dissonance in psychology actually is borrowed from music theory. Dissonance means non-harmonized. That's what dissonance means. It's a musical term. Cognitive is your mind. Cognitive dissonance. Harmonic dissonance, that's actually the term. They borrowed it from music. So funny to me. When I first saw that, I was like, dissonance, that's music. What is psychology doing with music? This is what psychology is doing with music. Let's complete the metaphor, please. Please. Why stop there? Complete the metaphor, psychology. So people walk into the office and they've got their mother's 1 chord, they've got their father's 3 chord, they've got their husband's entire melodic line, they have their ex-husband's melodic line. Fourth perspective talk, we call that baggage. That's what you're talking about. That's baggage. They've got all of this crap that's cramming up the song, and we don't even know who this person is. And this person's going, I'm in pain. Well, yeah, I could see that. You don't have your tonic, you don't have your median, and you've got 5 songs all crammed in here from different key signatures. Yeah, I'd be in pain too. The art of psychology, the art of healing, is finding your song in all the noise. Now, you then sit down and you're pulling in relationships. Whenever you pull in a relationship, you're adding to your song. But if you've got all this noise and garbage and you're adding to that, well, imagine going, I'm in pain. I need to sort this out. But first, let me go get someone else to add to this, which is why I always say to people, you don't want me to be your therapist for your relationship, because the first thing I'm going to tell you to do is get rid of the current partner. Go on a 2-year break from them. If they love you, they'll come back. 2-year break. Get rid of them, because the last thing you need right now is someone else's music in your song. And then somebody will come along and they'll grab another one and put them in. And it's like, what are you doing? You want me to sort out this music, but you just keep adding more songs to it. So yeah, I don't do relationship therapy for this reason, because people don't want to give up the current song they have. They want you, the therapist, to fix the mess, but they're not going to give up what's adding to the mess. So I don't do relationship shit. I don't. My very first piece of advice is you need to get rid of the extra noise. And right now, you do not need to be trying to harmonize against someone who's matched to your ex-husband's father. That's really what you're doing, is when you try and pull in a partner, you're actually matching your partner to somebody else's song. So yeah, it's not going to work. And then as you heal, you realize that they're obsolete now because their song was matched to your baby daddy instead of you. Get rid of your spouse. If you want to do self-work, tell them, sorry, I need to take a 2-year hiatus, because you need to define who you are. And you can't do that with noise and distraction. No one can do that with noise and distraction. That's why my partner and I are separated right now, is because I need to figure out my shit and he needs to figure out his. And that's a hard, fucking horrible reality that people don't want to deal with. That if you really want to sit down and get serious about fixing you, get rid of your fucking spouse. Stay friends, talk, email each other, but you need fucking space to figure out who you are, because this is a relationship first and foremost between you and yourself. And another person right now, another person is a celebration of your identity. But if you don't know who you are, what the fuck are you celebrating? What the fuck are you celebrating if you don't even know who you are? You're not celebrating. What you're really doing is projecting your own lack of needs, lack of fulfillment onto another person. So now you're using them, calling it love. That's not love. That is absolutely projecting your fears onto someone else because you feel inadequate, because you feel like you can't. So you need someone else. So you're using them as a crutch. So your entire relationship is based on enabling, is based on, I'm going to need this person as a crutch because I can't. And you need to go in and fix the I can't. That's the problem. You need your one chord. You need your identity. You need your ethics. And then you need to figure out your melodic harmony to figure out who you are and what your song is. Once you've got that stable, then by all means, go find a partner to celebrate and play music with. But here's the catch. You got to find someone, you should be finding someone who's succinct and who's on the same page. Fourth perspective talk 4, on the same perspective as you. Same ethics and same mental wealth. Same ethics. The problem is our ethics usually reflect our parents. So we go out and we seek our parents. We go out and we seek someone to emanate what our parents want, which isn't true to ourselves at all. So you bring in another partner, and now your partner is reflecting off of your parents' desires. So really, when you find a partner, you're actually finding a partner for your mother or your father. And when you define your own identity, you find out later that your partner is now obsolete because they're not matched to who you are. They are instead matched to what your mom wanted. You found yourself your mother's perfect mate. But if your mother is a narcissist, you have found yourself your mother's perfect mate, which is obsolete for healthy you. Get rid of your partner. Get rid of your partner. You can support them. They can support you. But living together, you need some serious fucking isolation. And I mean 2 years. 2 fucking years of isolation. It's called walkabout. And it is really damn fucking hard. And here's the other thing. This is hindsight talking. I love the fuck out of my partner. I love the fuck out of my partner. His safety, his mental health, is as important to me as mine. Because we tried to do my mental shit as a couple, it damaged him. It traumatized him. It took a toll on him. Now, he has constant severe pain just by being around me because he has pain trauma by association. That is what you risk when you try and do the self-work with a partner. You're gonna have shrapnel. But we don't think about that. We're too selfish. I hate that word. Let's not use that word. You are too afraid to be alone. So you try and drag people into your valley of shadow and death. And that is exactly what that is. When you do shadow work, when you do mental shit like this, you are pulling people into your shadow, your valley of shadow and death. They're gonna get shrapnel. How much do you love them? If I had it to do over again, I would have absolutely broken up with him probably 6 months into the relationship, 3 months into the relationship, and said, I really love you and you are very precious to me, but I got some shit to figure out. And I cannot have you around me when I figure it out because it's going to get real bad. It's going to get real fucking ugly. And it did. And he took all the shrapnel. So now I'm fantastic. I'm healed. I'm identified and I'm stable. And he's traumatized. And I can't even get near him to help him heal. Despite my fucking brain and my fucking knowledge, I can't help him, even though I caused it. All I can do is support from a distance and manifest the fuck that the universe is just going to fix this. And that's my only fucking prayer I've got. So when I say to you, dump your fucking spouse, go do your own shadow work on your own, just for the sake of keeping them safe from your bullshit, voice of experience. And here's the kicker. It took me 2 relationships to figure that out. My second husband, my narcissistic husband, he got shrapnel too from my bullshit because I spent 5 years doing shadow work with him and it traumatized him. So I added to his fucking narcissism. It triggered the worst of his narcissism. Because I was doing shadow work with a partner. Don't do fucking shadow work with partners. Because you take them down with you. And that's what people don't want to hear. The minute you think, I need to go to therapy, reality check. You need to keep it away from your partner. The thing is, you can't. Trained fucking vigorous warrior of a psychologist, and I couldn't keep it away from my partners. You think you can? I had 20 fucking years of psychology, and I still could not keep it away from them. Because that's not how the subconscious mind works. Because that is not how the subconscious mind works. Your expectations of the subconscious mind are a lot higher than they should be. You really, really think a lot about the subconscious mind. We all do. We all go, oh, my subconscious mind can handle it. We all overestimate our subconscious mind. We all overtrust our subconscious mind. We think the subconscious mind has our back. We all need a fucking reality check of who the subconscious mind really is and what it's capable of. That is what I teach. That is what I do. A reality check of what you're really dealing with inside your mind. Because the subconscious mind is not what you think it is. It should not be trusted. It is incompetent. It is dangerous. It is violent. It is crafty. It is skilled. And it is stupid. Imagine Putin running your mind. There. Perfect. Your subconscious mind is Putin. And when you decide to take on this asshole, you're saying, my partner will support me. Your partner just became Ukraine. Yeah. Dump your fucking partner. Sit down. Show them this video. Say, I love you, but we're going to need to take a 2-year break while I figure this shit out. Do your shadow work. Do your mental work. But good God, you better find another place to live, because you got to figure your shit out. And yeah, there's a possibility when you're done, they're not going to be anything in sync with you. That is the risk of healing. That's the truth of it. So you're going to try and shape your healing to fit their harmony. Now, a man cannot serve 2 masters. So you need to figure out now where your loyalties lie. With your partner or with yourself. Because you can't have both. Dump your fucking partner. That's love. That is love. Anything else is fear. You are in fear with your partner. You're not in love with your partner. If you were in love with your partner, in a heartbeat, you would prioritize their mental safety above you. So the minute you resist and go, no, I can't leave my partner. They need me. They need you. Fear. That's narcissism. That's codependency talking. That's not love. Love has one answer. I love my partner. I will protect my partner. We need to do this, and he needs to go away, or I need to separate myself from my partner. If I'm serious about mental healing and I love that man, then we need to be apart until this shit is under control. 2 years. Not, I'm going to try and do this in 6 months. No. 2 years. 2 years. I'm halfway done. And yeah, it's painful. For more shit like this, subscribe to my YouTube channel. For even more shit like this, subscribe to my newsletter. And if you want any of my material in an organized, beautiful, disciplined design with purpose, take a look at my masterclasses. Thank you. And may the kindest of words always find you.